what unit is going to go before the other unit based on the amount of speed that they have and how soon after that unit they're going to go based on the difference between the two units. Don't forget guys, every time you comment and like one of my videos this month, you'll be entered to win a Samsung tablet. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I post a video, because the more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Good luck. Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And today we're back with another How Important Is It video. This series where I take your guys' comments and suggestions and turn them into videos. So if you guys want to be responsible for the next video, go ahead and post your comments down below, letting me know what you guys think would be an interesting question to answer about Summoner's War. And today's video is brought to you by Marius Zobiraj. I hope I said that name right. But basically he was asking how important is speed tuning early game as opposed to mid game and late game. And I thought this was going to be an easy one to answer, but then when I started thinking about it more and more, I was like, you know what? This actually has some depth to it. So the reason why I think it has depth to it is because if you look at PvE, speed tuning matters more early game than it does late game. If you look at PvP, speed tuning matters more late game than it does early game. So it kind of depends on what your focus is. However, when you're early game, your focus is typically PvE. And when you're late game, your focus is typically PvP. Isn't that crazy? So the answer is, if the question alone is how important is speed tuning early game, question alone is easy. It's important. The question is how important is speed tuning early game compared to what it is late game. Question is, it's equal. Speed tuning is always important, but it's just different because I would consider myself a late game player. I would consider anybody that's Guardian and has like Guardian info all over their like record book, right? That's a late game player. Anybody that has like Conqueror stuff in their book, maybe not SSS, all of their riff rates and stuff like that. Maybe just like S and SS or A or stuff like that. That's a mid game player, mid to late game player. And then early game players like Fighter, beginner players like Challenger stuff. So that's how I kind of envision late game to end game. End game would be your end game, like you finish legend on everything. Okay? So that's end game compared to late game, compared to mid game, etc. But yeah, I just thought it was super interesting how that concept kind of works out, where if you're early game, you're really focusing on PvE. So me, like I said, with being a late game player, my PvE doesn't need to be speed tuned for it to work. I also don't need to have a 20-second Giant Speed 10 team for me to really get what I need to out of it, right? So if you look at my Giant Speed 10 team right now and what it's doing, the speed tuning is not correct. And I'll give you guys a cookie if you can figure out why the speed tuning is not correct, or if you've already figured it out, comment down below why it's not correct right now. I'll give you guys a couple seconds until it comes back around, and then I'll tell you guys why the speed tuning isn't correct as we get into the next one. Go ahead, comment, do it. So we have Galleon, and then we have Lin, then we have the Lucian number 1, Lucian number 2, and then Teshar. So why is that speed tuning not necessarily correct? It's because if I were to have my Lucians go before Galleon, they are strong enough to kill the wave without needing Galleon to even take a turn. Galleon doesn't need to have attack power boost on them in order for them to clear the wave, as you saw right there. So if I had my Galleon go after my Lucians, then my Lucians would 1, 2, potentially clear the first 2 trash waves in 3 turns. So it'd go Lucian first, and then the first Lucian would then use his second skill, and then the second Lucian would then use his third skill, and I would be into the mini boss from that point on. And then the first Lucian would have his third skill back up. He'd be able to use it again. And there's so many. I would save so much time just by having that alone, just by those two Lucians being faster than my Galleon. Okay, so that would just shave seconds off of my time. Now the fact that Lyn is in there, Lyn's not doing anything. She's taking a turn that she doesn't even need to take right there. Really, it's not really doing anybody any good. So the way it should be, it should be Lucian, Lucian. I would argue that Galleon could go before my Teshar or could go after, depending on how good your Teshar is. Mine's pretty damn good, so it could probably, it can almost clear a wave without an attack power boost from Galleon or a defense break. But I'm going to say that Galleon should go before Teshar because when it comes to the boss stage, it's going to be nice to have that defense break plus the attack power before he uses his second skill or her second skill, whatever Teshar is. You guys know who I'm talking about. And then after Teshar would be Lyn coming in with a big third skill from her to finish off, potentially two-hitting the Giants B10 boss, right? So at the end of the day, speed tuning for me doesn't really matter. I'm still clearing this 100% of the time. I'm still autoing it in a very good time. I'm just not autoing it as fast as I possibly could. However, flip the script, if we were talking about a beginner player, the beginner player could potentially lose because their speed tuning isn't correct. Like, their speed tuning could be so off that they would lose. And speed tuning, I don't know why I didn't address this sooner, but speed tuning means like basically what unit is going to go before the other unit based on the amount of speed that they have and how soon after that unit they're going to go based on the difference between the two units that are attacking. Okay? So as a newer player, you could really just lose, and especially in your PvE, if you don't have the runes to make up for the lack of speed tuning, which is kind of weird to say because speed tuning takes runes. It's important. It's important early game because you're focused on PvE, and that's where it's definitely going to be important. Where PvP, speed tuning doesn't really matter as much. It just matters about runes, and like if you have better rune quality, it doesn't matter who goes first, you're still going to end up winning. And then PvE, while you're late game, it's just such an interesting concept to me. It's something that I've never thought about before until now. So thank you, Marius. I appreciate the question. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Also, comment down below if you have a question or a suggestion for the next video. Also, again, while you guys are doing that, you guys are entering into a Samsung tablet. Just make sure you guys are also hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell. Otherwise, you won't win the tablet. Okay? Aside from that, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay soupy, don't be potatoes. See you guys next time.